Okay, so let's look at navigating our document, viewing it, changing the perspective of what we're viewing, zooming it. All of these things help in allowing us to type better, to be able to think better. If we can look at our document, if we can navigate the document to certain areas so that we can make changes and so forth, and we can do that quickly and effortlessly, makes all the difference in the world. So navigating, the different areas, zooming in on certain areas just because it's a little bit easier to see, and just changing overall perspective. That's what I want to show you in this particular video. So as you can see, we've typed a little bit of this document, and we want to kind of move around and see what we've got and so forth. If you're just using your mouse and you just want to kind of navigate around to see where things are at, what you can do is just kind of point anywhere in here, and then you can use your the wheel on top of your mouse to kind of wheel down to kind of navigate it like that. Do the same thing with wheeling it up if you'd like. So that's one way. Now another way you can look at it is over on the side here. We have our scrolling bar here, and what we can do with this is we can get right on the what they would call the elevator. All right, you can actually just kind of drag this like this, see, and so forth. Now what I just did, and I did this while I paused the video, I kind of shrunk my screen just a little bit because of the way that I have to record these videos. My screen is a little bit larger than usual, and certain little things that normally pop up on the screen don't display because they're going onto another one of my screens. It's kind of a weird thing, but just get an idea of this. So let me just go back to what I was talking about before. You'll see that we've got headings on here as well. So we've got like Chicago area, Honolulu, and so on and so forth going through here. Now, if we go over to that elevator like I was doing before and hold down the mouse, you'll notice how it says we're on page 1, obviously. It says Chicago area. Now as I scroll down here, now watch this, then you'll see it kind of changed to Tampa. It did miss the Honolulu one, but nonetheless there you'll see Tampa, all right? And then you'll see the Mexican Baja, all right? And then you'll see Yucatan and so forth. So as far as navigating to the area that you want to get back to so you can make some more changes to it or whatever, that would be what that's good for. Now another way you can kind of navigate back and forth is on your keyboard. You should have like the page up and page down keys. So on your keyboard, if I go ahead and hit the page down, it goes down, not a page, but just a screen full, okay? So I'll hit the page up and get back to the top. So there's the top. Now you see where Honolulu is at right there. So if I hit my page down, there you'll see it, say, right below that Honolulu. Hit it again, now there we are on page 2, and then about midway down, and then now there's page 3 and so forth. See, so we can do that. So that's a page up and page down. So that's a kind of a convenient way to move around. Now you can also just hit the down arrow key, and that will, take you basically one line at a time, back and forth. That's pretty easy. So that's your page up and page down. Now, the other thing you can do, you can actually jump characters at a time. And I know for most of you are going to sit there and say, Chip, that's stupid. We know how to do that. But let me just show it to you anyway. So if you hit the right arrow key, you're jumping one letter at a time, right? One character, right? Left and right arrow. The down arrow key, one line at a time. Up arrow key, one line at a time. All right, that's pretty simple. Now, on the other hand, now watch this. If I hold down the control key, okay, and I hit the right arrow key, it jumps one word at a time. So that's an easy way to kind of, if you don't feel like picking up your mouse and pointing to a spot and clicking onto it to get there, wherever it is, all you have to do is just control key, right arrow key, that goes one word at a time. Now, if you do the control key, down arrow key, it takes you down to the next paragraph. So there's your Chicago area. That's like a heading, and that's a paragraph in itself. Control down again, goes down to that paragraph, control down to that one, control down, and so forth. So that's another way of kind of scrolling through your document. And of course, if you do a control up, it just does the same thing going back up again. All right. While we're on the control key, if you hit the control key and you hit the end key, so control end, that will take you to the end of the document. All right. The control home, that'll take you back to the beginning. So think about this. The control right arrow key, one word, control down arrow key, one paragraph, control home, control end, control home, right? Now, if you want to get to the end of a line, all you do is you just hit the end key, and that will take you to the end of the line. You want to get to the beginning, so let's just say I'm down here somewhere. Let's say I'm over here, right? And I hit my home key, that takes me back to the beginning. So home, beginning, and end of the line, right? Control home, beginning of the document, control end, the end of the document. So I'll do a control home to get back up. Now I made headings, as you saw before, for like Chicago and Honolulu and a bunch of others as well. Now these headings came about by me basically, typing in the text, and what I did is I selected the area like that, and then what I did is I went up here into the styles, and this is in the home tab. And we're going to get more into this, later on in other videos, but I just want you to just know this ahead of time. When you're putting together a report like this, and you're going to have it kind of sectioned off with, like you see here, headings, if you make the headings or if you format them using a style, and in this case I use the heading 1, you can see it's already highlighted here, because it's got the heading 1 on there, that makes it a kind of a special piece of text. So if I click away from it, I'm just on the normal text. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary, but this one here, as you can see, it goes to heading 1. Now, if we go over to the View tab, all right, and we turn on the navigation pane, which is this thing right here, and you click onto that, this thing opens up, and usually it pops up like this. So what you do is you just jump over to where it says headings, right? And this will allow you to jump to each one of your different sections that you've made using the headings. So as long as you make these headings and use either like the heading 1, let me go back there again, using the heading 1 or heading 2 format, it will become part of this system here. So you go and you kind of click on each of these and it kind of jumps about. So that's pretty cool. Now, let me just show you one little thing here. If I were to go back, let's say we got the Hana Opilani, park here. No such place, but we're just making it up. And we go and want to do like a subheading for that. So let's say maybe at this point here, and we want to do like a subheading. So let's say we want to put in there the Hana Beach Resort, okay? Whatever that is. And then we'll do that. So I've put that in there, okay? Now if I select the text, all right, and I want to do a heading 2 on it, all right, and I'll make it bold as well. That's what I did with these guys here. Well, now look at that. I've got within here, I've got this subheading. That's pretty cool. And so it shows it kind of indented to show that it's a subheading. And let me just do one more here. So let's say maybe right over here, I put in here, let's say the Jaws Bahia Beach. All right, so I do something like that. And I'll go ahead and highlight that as well, all right? Then I'll make that heading 2 as well. You'll see how that comes in like that. So my big point with all this is that as I'm trying to keep my document, my report here, organized and kind of broken down into these different sections, not only do I have the sections that I can jump to very quickly, but I can also keep track of the subsections or the subheadings in this case. I don't know why this is coming up like that. That should be, add that to the dictionary. Okay, so the idea is that just jumping around just by clicking onto here, not bad. So that's pretty cool. And then the other part of this whole navigation pane as well. So I go over here to the pages, and we saw this a little bit earlier in the first video. Here's all your pages. I can jump to each of the pages just simply by clicking onto those as well. It kind of looks like Adobe Acrobat in a way, that kind of layout there. Now I'll go ahead and I'll close that up, and I'll do a Control Home, get back to the beginning there. Now another thing that we can use to kind of navigate is using a little search feature, and that's also built into that pane that we were just looking at. So I'm just going back and click on a view here and go back and turn back on the navigation pane. There it is, right? And let's just say I know I need to find a place where I left off at, and I remember it having something to do with video. So I can actually go back up here, type in video, like that, and it actually will highlight all of the sections that we have here that have video in them, and plus two will highlight out here as well. So it actually lets me very quickly kind of go through this and find the proper video spot that I need to go to make some changes or whatever. If I went back in there and I said, okay, I'm going to go with surfboard, let's say. So I'll type in surfboard. And it doesn't matter about the case. And you'll see how it comes up twice. We have it over here on the main heading. There it is. And then we also have it in the JAWS area. So if I go down a little bit further, you will see it somewhere here. There it is. And there's that as well. So pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and I'll close that up now. So not bad stuff. And then we can go back to the beginning. I think we're already at the beginning here. Yep. All right. So that's good. Now there's a cousin to that pane that we were just looking at, and that's the F5 key. If you, on your keyboard, hit F5, this will pop up, and this will allow you to jump to whatever page you want to go to. So, I mean, it's not a big document here, but if I said, okay, I need to go to page 6, I'll just type in the number 6 there, hit go to, bingo, it takes me back there, all right? If I type in the number 1 instead and hit go to, then it takes me back to the beginning, all right? So I can do that. And there's other elements in here that we'll be talking about in later videos, but we can go all the way down towards the bottom here, and here's the heading. Okay, we can say, well, what heading? I mean, if I wanted to maybe jump, let's say 4 headings from where I'm at, all right? So I would type in a +4, all right? Hit go to, all right? And it takes me to the 4th heading, as you can see here. I mean, that's, I don't know if that's the best thing here, but again, it's an alternative. But I think the other one works a lot better. But nonetheless, though, pretty neat deal there. So I'm going to hit Control Home again, be back to the top there. Okay, now let's talk about zooming the document. Now we did a little bit of this in the first video, but I want to go a little bit more with it. So in this case, we have 7 pages, right? So if we use the zoom control at the bottom here, I can hit the plus zoom, and that's just going to get me closer and closer. But if I want to get an idea of what my document kind of looks like, I might want to zoom out. And as I do such, it goes further and further out. Now, one of the reasons why it's not kind of maybe spreading itself out and making the most of my view area is because when we do something like this, we have to also turn on the multiple pages, and this is in the view area. So if you go to view, hit multiple pages, then it will try its best to fit the pages on the entire screen area here. So as you can see, that looks pretty good. Now if I zoom out a little bit further, I got that. So if you've got a large screen, you'll be able to actually read this and even possibly, make some changes to it. But overall, just to have it looking like this on the screen, the reason why you're doing this is just because you want to see how it looks overall. So if you were to print this out on, in this case, 7 pieces of paper, that's pretty much how it's going to look. And then, of course, I can, zoom back in again and do something like this. What happens is it actually zooms in on wherever your cursor is at. So if my cursor is, let's say, let me go over here, over here by the Yucatan here, right? And I'll be back up here now. Now my cursor's back down there. Now if I start hitting my plus zoom, all right, let me back out here real quick. So I back out here, all right, so there it is. And now I zoom in, so that's what it does. Kind of an interesting aspect here. So it's almost like you can go to here and say, okay, I'm going to click on this spot right here, all right? I've clicked there, right? Now, as I zoom in, it starts zooming in on that specific area. So it's just kind of a neat, you know, overall, you know, navigation tool, you know, to kind of work with there. So if I'm on, you know, this page here, and I tell I want to go in at 100%, there it is, all right? If I want to do one page, there it is, all right? You can kind of see that. All right, now, if I go and I say, okay, I want to go with page width, then it will make the page as wide as it can be without, you know, going off the edges there. So it makes it easy to read. So that gives me pretty much my closest zoom. I suppose I can get just a little bit closer, but then I'd lose the edges of the page, and you might not want to do that. So this is probably the closest that you want to be with that. Now, got another one for you. This is actually pretty cool. And I'm just going to go to the top to start there at the beginning. We have another view here, and it's something called, like right now we've got the vertical view, meaning that as we scroll, we're kind of scrolling down. So there's page 1, there's page 2, and so forth. And I can scroll back up again, back to page 1 here. Now, if instead of us going vertical, what if we wanted to do that laterally, or, you know, side by side? Well, if you click on to side by side, it does something like this. Now, you ready for this one? I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse. I'm going to wheel down. Okay, as I wheel down, look what happens. It kind of shuffles the page from right to left. See, so on the right side right now, we've got that Grafton Railway, right? So as I use my down, or, you know, wheel down, there's the Grafton on that side, and I'm at the end. So that's page 7. Now, if I wheel up, it goes the other way. See, that's not too bad. So as I'm scrolling sideways, even though I'm like wheeling down, right? So that's pretty interesting aspect there. And it's kind of interesting because I can actually edit in this mode too. So I can still go in there and I can kind of highlight something and, you know, make it bold or whatever. So I can do all the usual changes there. It's just that I'm kind of further back here a little bit. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, look what happens, see? It's not letting me do that, see? So when I'm in this kind of mode here, I better have a pretty big screen to be able to see that. Now, what I could do, and we learned this in the first video, is I can maybe, you know, temporarily hide this, right? You know, the ribbon. So I can actually kind of point right here, double click it, just like that, rolls it up. And that then gives it a little bit more room to work with, and I can now see that a little bit better. So that is, I think, a solution to that. Okay, so now to get out of that, first of all, I'm going to redisplay my ribbons. I'll just double click that to do that. And then what I'll do is I'll go back into my view tab, go back to vertical, and now I can do that. And I can still, in that case, zoom out, all right? And still eventually see, well, I got to also do my multiple pages here because I had switched to something else before. So hit my multiple pages, and now I can zoom back in again. And here I have still my side-by-side view like I had before, but now instead of it going, you know, laterally, or, you know, left or from right to left, I have to go this way now, see, to do that. So it's a minor thing, but it's kind of an interesting view. Kind of breaks the monotony a little bit, something a little bit different to do once in a while. Now let's take a look at some of the views that we have here. I'm going to go back to the View tab here. Now, before, when we first kind of started with all this, we were in the what we call the print layout. That's pretty much the most popular layout I think there is. And what's nice about this type of layout is that I can see my margins. I can pretty much see what the document's going to look like if it were printed. That's the idea. And this would be on one page, this would be like on page 2, this would be page 3, that type of thing. Or actually, I'm sorry, this would be page, this would be page 1, page 2, and of course page 3 and 4 and so forth. Now, we have the read mode, okay? If we click onto that, that's going to put us in a way where the text becomes a little bit thicker, it comes closer to us. We're not actually seeing a full page, we're seeing just enough that will fit in this panel here. And as we wheel down with using our mouse, so the wheel on our mouse going down, it goes to the second page, the third page, and fourth page. You can see the page numbering down here. And I shouldn't even say page, it's really just the screen, so screen 4. So think about this, we have 7 pages, but because they fit less per screen, we have 15 screens to show our 7 pages of text here. So that's pretty interesting how that works. And then an easy way to get, by the way too, you can't edit in this mode here too. So it's just basically, as they say, it's just the reading mode. Now to get out of that, we can go down here and click onto our print layout, and that'll take us back to what we had. So that's where we were before. Another layout we have here is the web layout. All right, this is what it would look like if we were to take this and save it as an HTML formatted document that would then go onto a website. Okay, and as I was saying in the first video, this isn't that popular anymore because most websites are done using other ways of presenting the page. I mean, it's still an HTML page, but they're using things like WordPress that will that are the actual pages. So you wouldn't put something like this in your website if it was a WordPress made website. All right, so again, not a real popular one here. All right, and so that's how that works. Then I can go back to the print layout to go back to this way here. Okay, now there's another view that we have here called the outline view, and this is a great thing to have or to go into sometimes if you have headings like we have here. Okay, so if you go into outline, it does that. So, you know, so there's the beginning of the document. Now you'll notice on here we've got Chicago area, and then we have, you know, the 2 paragraphs, and then we've got Honolulu with the 3 or 4 or 5 paragraphs there and so forth. Now, I don't know, it's just another way of looking at things. Now, if you point to the little plus right here for Chicago, and you double click that, it rolls that up. If I go to Honolulu and I double click it, it rolls it up as well. All right. Now, if you wanted to do that to everything and just see just your headings, what you would do in that case, you could say I want to, instead of seeing all levels, I just want to see just the first level. So I say level 1, they all roll up just like that. See? If I go back to there and I say I just want to see level 2 as well as level 1 on whichever one I'm on, you can see how that pops out. If I go in there and I say I just want to see all levels, then it puts them back out there again. What's kind of interesting about this view is it kind of compacts everything and allows me, for instance, let me just go back to the top here. I can actually go ahead and close up Chicago, close up Honolulu, all right, and have Tampa there and close up all the other ones and not have a lot to, you know, scroll back and forth to. I can kind of go from here all the way down to here very quickly because I already had this, you know, closed up. Not a big deal, but that's how it is. Now, to get out of this mode, and by the way, too, you can also make changes here. I can go in here and I can delete stuff. You know, I can, you know, do whatever I want to do. All the same formatting that you're used to doing already. You know, in the page layout or print layout, you can do it in here. Now, to get out of this mode, I just click on to close outline view, and that takes me back to here again. And I'm going to zoom out here just a little bit. Oh, and I got to go back into view again and go back to my multiple pages so I can see, you know, them side by side. So there we go. All right. Now, I want you to see something here. Even though we were able to do this in the outline mode, we can also do it here, and that is I can go to any of these headings, right, that I've made, and you saw how we made those, and I can actually click on that little latch right there, right? And I click onto that, it rolls it up. I mean, that's pretty cool. I can do this just like that, and so forth. And I can do this for as many as I want here. So if I wanted to roll up maybe the a little bit further down here and roll up the Lahaina one here, I can click on that little latch there, rolls that up. Now, when I go to print this, all right, it not only does that on the screen, but when I go to print it, look at this. There's the roll-up. So I got that there, and then I've got, you know, the roll-up here as well. So it's pretty cool with that. So by breaking down your document and using these heading styles, it allows you to, you know, really kind of navigate and to kind of hide certain areas that maybe you don't want to print out or what have you, or have one version that's printed out, another version that's not, you know, in different areas. So it's all up to you. And I can, you know, again, I'm going to show you this real quick. I can open these back up again just by clicking onto them. So pretty slick stuff. Now, here's something I think is really nice. You write up a document like this. You spend a lot of time doing it, and you sit there kind of reading it to yourself to think of how it sounds, you know, if somebody were to read it to themselves as well. And it's like, how can we take that a notch higher? Well, over in the review tab here, we have something here called read aloud. This is pretty cool. So what you do is you select an area that you like it to read, hit the read aloud.
Video provides a powerful way to help you prove your point. When you click
You're
on
probably
one
getting an
video,
echo in
you
there,
can
but
paste in the embed code for the video you want to add. You can also type a keyword to search.
That's pretty slick. What I can also do here is I can click on this little guy here. I can speed up her voice. I can slow it down a little bit, and I can also change it from Microsoft Zira to Microsoft David or Microsoft Mark right there. So I go here to Mark, and I go back here and hit the play button.
For the video that best fits your document. To make your document look professionally produced,
now I'll go back.
Word provides header, footer, cover page, and text box designs that complement each other. For example, you can add a matching cover page, header, and sidebar.
And there we go. Now, if I were just to go to here, just kind of click on that spot right there, and I've already got, I still have this feature turned on here. I can click onto here.
Click insert and then choose the elements you want from the different galleries. Themes and styles also help keep your document coordinated. When you click design and choose a new theme, the pictures, charts,
give it time here, just kind of watch this next here.
Match your new theme. When you apply styles, your headings change to match the new theme. Save time in Word with new buttons that show up where you need them. To change the way a picture fits
so
in
my
your
point on that
document.
one was that if you don't highlight the area and you just kind of click at the beginning of a paragraph, it will read on and on and on and on, right? And then last but not least, here, watch this now. I'm starting on this paragraph right here, right? So I'll hit play, right?
Click
So
insert
as
and then
it's
change
reading, now watch this. I hit
elements
the next, it jumps a paragraph at a time, see? And this will jump backwards.
Video to change. Click insert and then choose the
Not
elements
bad.
you want.
That's a pretty good, pretty good tool there. We also have that feature in Microsoft Outlook. So you receive an email from somebody, you can actually have that email read to you using one of our three voices, using the same exact tool. It's called Read Aloud in Outlook. So, you know, keep that in mind if you're interested. Okay, so hopefully this comes in handy for some of the stuff that you're doing. I appreciate you watching the video. Take care.